Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Welcome to Hello Uglies, the Dragula recap show for Season 6, Episode 1, titled... Okay. I think there's a typo. I think it's Welcome to Hell, but I will read as written on their episode, Welcome the Hell. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined by one horrible horror icon. From The Tea, available everywhere you get your podcast, please say, Hello, Uglies! To the goddess of glitz, glamour, goth, gossip, and gore herself, the one, the only, Miss Laurian K. Roggenkamp. Hello, Laurian.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm going to tell you something.
Shut up!
Why is this scaring me more? I know this is coming.
I don't know. You actually
Did you scare your fiance?
No, she's fine.
Oh. Anyway, we are back, Lori. Season 6. We are back with a brand new season of Dragula. You know, I said season 1 by accident, and I'll be honest with you, not to tip my hand a little bit. There are some kind of, as much as the show has gone forward with the production quality.
Yeah.
In many ways, it's gone backwards in terms of like stupidity. You know, because we're doing the new series now, which you haven't heard, but you will hear when you hear the episode of Lori, our serial that we're doing with each episode.
Yeah.
So I can't take up, there's too much valuable time, so I can't take it up. But I was thinking already of one of our classic bits, because this whole thing in the opening bit, when they run over the security guard at their studio, and no one seems to care or notice that they murdered a person.
Yes.
And I was like, this is very season 1 Boulay Brothers.
Also, he opened it for them. He opened it, but
he opened the gate.
But then was like, don't come in. So, I mean, mixed messages, you know? And
by the way, no one calls the police. No one, it doesn't, and also there's all these, and there's moments that, I don't know, I'm tipping my hand, we got to get into this. So anyway, let me do a lot of plugs here. One, like I said, you were from a show called The Tea. This show, because there's a lot of people, Lori, who listen to Hello Uglies, but don't listen to our other show, Drag Race, well, you're not on Drag Race Recap, but they don't listen to Drag Race Recap, which is our RuPaul's Drag Race recap show. And so you should know that Lori, myself, and another person named Jay Ellis, we're on this podcast called The Tea. It is just a chat show. It is funny as fuck. It is, if you love how funny Hello Uglies is, you will love The Tea. Lori is the star of The Tea.
I am not the star.
Insisted that her face be on the cover.
I have asked you multiple times not to put my face on the cover.
The title of every episode has to be about her.
Which I've asked you to change.
And so
and he keeps saying we have listeners, but I don't understand why.
Oh my God, guys, this show is growing. I'm constantly getting alerts on how it's growing. And people are finding it. It is a fantastic, fantastic show. And it's available wherever you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple, everywhere you get podcasts, The Tea is available. And I'm going to tell you, to show you how much it's growing, and Lori knows this. When I first published a show by the way, this is not a new show. It's been around for years. We just released it to the public. When I first went to go add the show, I was like, ugh, we're in trouble, because there are like 1,000 shows called The Tea. Lori knows this. I can say with confidence, just go to your podcast search bar and write in The Tea. And the first show that pops up, you'll see Lori's face with a blue background, The Tea. That is us, with Joe, Lori, and Jay. And it is a funny fucking show. And I am not even being hyperbolic there. It is so, so funny. And of course, there is also Drag Race Recap. And also, you can listen to Just Between Us Ghouls, where Lori made a very heartfelt revelation. And I'm not being hyperbolic there either. Lori made genuinely a heartfelt revelation. And you can get that at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia and join at the executive tier. Or if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, on our Drag Race Recap show, so you'd have to go there if you listen to Hello Uglies on there. On Drag Race Recap, you can scroll and subscribe, and you will get Just Between Us Ghouls on there, along with Just Between Us Girls. So now that all those plugs are out of the way, why don't we do this? This week, 12 new monsters enter a theater, ready to face a new season of horrors to find out who will be America's next drag super monster. For this week's Fright Feat, the ghouls must make their way through a haunted maze and hopefully find a scroll that will grant one person immunity for the first challenge. For the main challenge, the girls must reimagine a horror icon in their own drag visage, not Michelle, visage. In the end, Asia Consent was named the winner of the challenge, while Severity Stone and Aurora Gasmic were placed in the bottom two, forcing them to face it off in an extermination challenge, literally for their lives, where they went and looked at sharks. But in the end, Severity Stone got the chop. All right, so why don't we? So that knowing that, Lori, what did you think of that extermination challenge? And did the right queen get the chop?
Yeah, I think that personally, I wouldn't have picked Aurora. I did think that her outfit wasn't great, but she wasn't my choice for the bottom. But yeah, I felt so bad for Severity. I really wanted her to stay in because I really did think that, she just, like they were saying, she needed a confidence boost. Mm-hmm. But I think she just got too overwhelmed. And unfortunately, the thing that I just think is so frustrating is these queens, when they put them in the bottom, they're like, she just needs to understand her own confidence and she needs a kick in the pants. It's like, bitch, she's going to go home. Like, You're not doing anything to help her. So that was a little frustrating, but
I'm going to have to agree with Drac on something that she said way later, not specifically about Severity Stone, even though I think it was, where she said this season she was going to have little patience for, giving people a chance to find out who they are and whatnot. And they showed it with Severity Stone. She needed a boost of confidence. But look, her look was the worst. She did walk it knowing like she knew it was the worst. And then just honestly too was just boring TV. I noticed that she really had close to zero confessionals.
Yeah.
And so I think ultimately her sin was she was just boring television and didn't even bring looks to serve it. And by the way, let's go back to the joke. What the fuck was this extermination challenge?
I love that they make it seem so dangerous, and it's just the most...
They went snorkeling.
Yeah, most basic thing ever. Like, I would love for them to describe my day-to-day life as, like, super dangerous, and it's just like, you're going to be sleeping in a bed with no safety net. It's like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, but going back to what you said, what's so funny? I just realized this. When I was watching the extermination challenge, I noticed they had snorkels. And I was thinking to myself, that was scarier to me than the sharks. I just realized I wasn't even thinking about the sharks. I was like, I don't know how to use a snorkel.
But also, like, what was the point of the challenge? Like, it just seemed like a fun vacay for them. Like, what was the point of the challenge? Did they have to...
They went on, like, a cruise excursion.
At one point, I forgot who it was. It was either Aurora or Severity goes, I'm going back in. And it was like, why? Like, what... Like, is the whole point to show that you want to be around the sharks? Like, is that the point of the thing?
They seem to be in no danger whatsoever.
No. Sharks, for the most part, don't want to eat humans. Like, they don't. It's sort of like us eating tires, Like, they don't want to eat humans. So, if they know humans around, they're pretty much just going to be like, yeah, fuck you, dude.
But by the way, if you want to eat a tire... I know a place that has 3 Michelin stars. Thank you.
Ba-dum-bum.
I told you we're going to focus on the comedy this season. And those are the kind of classic jokes.
Did it start? Are we focusing now?
No. After the break, it starts.
Okay.
Yeah. No, not now. No, we're dead serious right now.
But yeah, no, I thought it was hilarious. And I love how the people who are on the boat aren't even trying to pretend like it's a bad thing. They're just like, wee.
Well, also I was thinking too, and they don't try and hide this, where they're like, they go in the water and they openly show there are other people freely swimming.
Yeah.
In the water filming and just there.
And also, like, okay, one of my big gripes throughout this whole episode, and this is my old person gripe, is that the music is too loud to hear people's voices. Like, constantly. And the worst was when they had the music with the boat with Aurora talking. And Aurora's already very soft-spoken. And so she was like, if they think they're going to get rid of me.
Wait, no, I have it right here. I have it right here, actually. Hold on.
If they think that they're going to scare me, they have another thing coming. And I made a list of every one of those motherfuckers who voted for me. And I'm coming back for them one way or another. They better watch out when I come back. They think sharks scare me. They should be scared of me. And I literally was jacking it up to like 100. And I was like, I still have I had to put it on subtitles. I had to be like, what the hell is she saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that woman, you would have to say what if it was just complete silence and she was talking. There were so many times when she was like, you know, when the judge was like, you need to make the mummy hand. She was like, noted. Thank you. It's like, okay. Thank you, Aurora.
She really does have no personality, which is so funny because her arch enemy is nothing but personality, like no talent whatsoever.
Yes, and also
just purely personality. All right. Well, why don't we do this? I think the right queen went home. I thought the extermination challenge was kind of like, especially for our first one, because when they were sort of describing it at first, I was like, oh motherfucker, yes, because they were like, here's what's gonna happen. You're going to leave the studio.
Okay. But yes. Okay.
You're going to drive away. You're going to go to the airport. You're going to get on an airplane and fly to the middle of the ocean. And I was like, motherfucker, yes. You're going to parachute into the ocean into a ring of fire or something like. And then you're going to get on a pontoon boat and go kind of far into... You can still see the shore. You're completely visible to everybody. And I think it might just be in San Pedro. And you're going to swim with sharks with snorkels and a bunch of people around. And I was like, oh.
The level of explanation they gave for this extermination challenge just made me think that somebody in the production crew was like, nobody's going to believe we're near the ocean. We gotta make them know. We gotta make it known that they're gonna be traveling to the ocean. Because they were like, you're gonna walk out of the studio. You're gonna make a left. You're gonna go all the way down to the black car. You're gonna get in that car. You're gonna drive down the 405. You're gonna take the 10 to the 405. Then it's like, why?
What's funny, the reality is, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send everybody in a van back to the hotel. You're going to stick around in your costume. We're going to film 2 versions of the extermination. One with Severity and one with Aurora. Then we're going to film that. Then we'll take you back to the hotel. In the morning, you'll wake up. You'll have a nice breakfast. Then you're going to put on your makeup exactly as you put it on before so that it looks like that you just walked out from during the day, this extermination challenge, and then was ready to go. And you're like, okay, all right.
It was just, all right. So here's what we're going to do. Joe, you're going to lift your right index finger. You're going to press the button that says break. We're going to take between a 10 and 15 second break. Then Laurie's going to make a mad dash for the bathroom. I don't know why I went.
Then they got in the boat and there was a guy who was like, all right, let me show you how to use a snorkel. Everybody, okay, put your face in the water and go, wait, hold on. That's called snorkeling. Now, here's what you're going to do. Don't get near the sharks. They're very dangerous, actually. You're like, okay, and we also need you to sign this waiver and put on, by the way, wear a life jacket because God forbid you fall out of the boat and you might drown.
The number one thing we don't want this to be is dangerous.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be dangerous. So safety is our number one concern.
Yeah. God forbid something happened to you. Okay. On that note, we're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. We're going to talk about the rest of the episode.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Can we talk? Is it too late to talk about the opening, or can we talk about the opening?
Now.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I didn't put the opening into the script.
We don't have to talk about it.
No. I was going to talk about. I have notes about the opening, but I didn't put it in the script. Okay, so typically every episode of Dragula opens up with, some sort of. In the past, they've done almost like little stories. This one wasn't so much a story as like a typical just sort of opening thing. And it shows them waking up, which I have a lot of notes on this, by the way. It shows them waking, it's black and white, and they're waking up in this mansion.
Are they, now is it just one of them or both of them?
Well, it's just one of them at first, and then the other one at some point gets in the car. So anyway, we're seeing them get up seemingly after an orgy.
Is it an orgy or a killing? I couldn't tell if those people were dead or if they were just like hung over.
Oh. I don't know. And then they go and turn on the shower, but do they get in the shower?
Well, they turn on the shower, but then the next thing you see is them picking out a dress.
Yeah, I don't know. What I love about the shower is like filmmaking 101 is how to film that shit. And you literally see the guy in the reflection in the wall holding the gimbal with the camera in it, shooting the shower. And you're like, well, that's not good filmmaking there. And I think right at that moment it says written and directed by the Boulet brothers. And I'm like, well,
thematically, I liked the idea of it. I just thought, like, if you had killed those guys, those dead guys, those unconscious guys.
Yeah. So let's get into that because I wrote in here, I thought it was an orgy.
Well, it just seemed weird because they were all wearing the same underwear. And
would you agree maybe they killed them after an orgy?
Could have killed them after an orgy.
Okay.
But I'm going to say this, and, again, this might be me wanting it to be too realistic. When someone's dead, they shit themselves. So I feel like all of those men should have had poop in their underwear.
So here's my question. And I'm going to focus because this was a very poop-heavy episode.
This is why I was fired from Boulet Brothers production company, because I was always
Laurie,
you got to put some
there
poop
for the longest time.
You got to put some poop in that underwear. And that guy's dead. He's going to shit himself.
Like, who brought her in? Get her out.
Please.
And then Laurie was wearing club kid boots, and oh my God.
Oh, it was bad. Marta beat me.
She did.
Yeah.
It was really awkward. Anyway, I was there, which is so funny because they were like, why is this fat gay Mexican here?
Yeah.
That's not Meatball.
Yeah, that gave me
Meatball's Mexican.
They gave me a little bit of time to hide. So that was good.
Yeah. So anyway, what I was going to say, I'm just going to comment about the Boulet brothers in general. And don't get me wrong. In fact, this episode is a very good example. The Boulet brothers are stunning. They're beautiful. They're everything, right? They look so great this episode. But are they sexual?
I think so.
Oh, really? I don't see them as sexual beings. I can't imagine them in an orgy.
They have a little bit of a Cenobite, kind of like a Pinhead thing going, where they're like sexual in a kind of a horror, like goth, violent way.
Yeah.
Where it's like they'd be fucking you and then they'd start stabbing you.
Yeah. So then they get in the car. They get in an old-timey car. It looks like they don't actually show the car, do they?
They show, so it's all their point of view until they get in the car, and then they show like a landscape of them driving.
Yeah.
So you really need to get that car, which I was like, hey, if I was driving that car, I'd want to show that off.
Yeah. And then they drive to the studio like you heard in that classic bit. They just randomly, for no apparent reason, kill a security guard. They gun it and run over him, and then casually walk out. And seemingly, we're watching them as they're filming the first episode of their new season. The police never come.
No
one ever comes. No other security guards. Like, wow, those guys just gunned down our security guard. We're just so fine with it.
Well, one of my favorite moments was when they first show up on the set. There are people who are like literally jumping out of the way of fear.
Yeah.
Like, because they're like, oh, God, the Belay brothers are here. Like, let's get out of the way. And then there's just this random, like, PA, like, just standing there with a clipboard and headphones, and he just smiles and waves at them. Like, I don't know why. I just thought that was so funny.
So it's funny you say that. So then what happens is we follow them through the soundstage, and they go in the soundstage to the back of the soundstage, and then you realize, oh, they're walking through the back of the lab.
Yeah.
The laboratory, and then they go and take their seats in the director's chair. But what I thought was weird about this, because even Drag Race doesn't do this. It's a weird conceit that I don't know how I feel about this, is that they were basically showing you this is all a set.
Yeah, but we knew that.
I know that we intellectually know that, but it's weird to break the fourth wall like that, because then what it's sort of putting in our heads like, oh, well, then everything we're seeing is a performance. We're not catching them in any kind. Like, so let's take Drag Race. And I think this is where they think Drag Race is the same thing, but it doesn't. Drag Race, when you go to the main stage, will very much show you the camera, show you the setup, show you all of that, because you are in a spot that's definitely meant that you were on camera.
Yeah.
But they try and give the illusion in the workroom that there's no cameras there, that the girls are just in the workroom getting ready. This is them in their natural habitat, not where they're on stage. And I assumed that the lab was going to be the same way, but then they just pretty much showed that they're, because at least also the workroom on Drag Race is a 4-walled structure. It's not, it's all, I don't know what you call it, what the word for it is that, but what are those things called? The things that they hang, right? But it's not real. They're not real walls, but there's 4 walls around them. So at least even the girls are under the impression they're in a room, but they're in a soundstage. This one, there's no 4th wall. It's just 3-walled structure that's supposed to look like a lab. So I don't know. It just really emphasized the artificiality of that. Maybe that was the point of it. So what did you think of this opening?
You know, I mean, it had some of the usual Boulay Brother cheesiness, but overall, I liked it. I thought it was I liked the house that they were at. I like to imagine that that's their house. I would like to know that the Boulay Brothers are in a really nice house. Like, I think that would be cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, the security guard thing was funny in a ridiculous way. But I thought it was I don't know. I thought it was a cool way to start the season. I didn't hate it. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'll tell you, it was better than last season. Remember last season was that weird, haunted Western house or something?
Yeah, that was
like
weird.
That?
Yeah. No, I liked it. I thought it was good.
All right, very good. All right, next, the girls then enter in a. Okay, this is another weird. Okay, this is gonna be a running theme on this episode.
Yeah,
there's no continuity in this show.
No.
So they clearly are walking down a long hallway that I don't actually really think is at the theater.
No.
You know, it's clearly some other hallway somewhere else. So they film them walking down the hallway, and then they have them go to the theater. You know what? I have a conspiracy theory now. I have a conspiracy theory.
What's it? What's your conspiracy theory?
Because, okay, we're going to go through each of the queens making their entrance one by one. So let me just set this up. Each queen, when they do their entrance, is walking down a hallway, and almost like in a haunted maze, which we'll be at later, they have people jumping out and chasing them throughout in the hallway.
It's like a Not Scary Farm or Universal.
Yeah, but it's just a long
Studios.
hallway.
Yeah,
and that's how each queen walks in. But then when you actually see them, they walk into the lobby of the Gardena Theater, or some sort of a movie theater.
Yeah.
So I think they're two separate things. Now I just realized something. Is Asia the one that yeah. So Asia consent when she's walking in, they show someone snatch her wig.
Oh my God. This whole wig thing drove me crazy.
I'm realizing I think they did that because at the haunted house, she lost her wig. So, or somehow it fell and instead I get it later. So when they filmed her at the haunted house, this is what I'm arguing, Lori.
Wait, what?
Hear me out. This is what I'm arguing. I'm arguing that this is not real. And that what happened is they did it not in order. And so what happened is that they filmed the haunted maze and the hallway first, somewhere else. Because the long hallway would make sense at the haunted maze, which in theory they shouldn't have been at. So somehow in the kerfuffle, because guys you'll hear about in a second, a lot goes on in that haunted maze. And so it would make sense that Asia Consent lost her wig at the haunted hallway. Or at the haunted maze. So they had to explain why her wig was not in those shots. So they had to do this thing where they go, okay, so one of the monsters is going to grab the wig and you're going to have to go into the theater wigless.
Why wouldn't they just say she lost her wig? I don't understand why I don't think they would go through all that work to...
Because maybe there wasn't a shot of her losing the wig.
But then she would just say, I lost my wig. I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of
Lori,
work.
it's my conspiracy theory. Because then why did they only snatch her wig? She's the only one they touched.
I know, but like, look at how much drama that made.
But then there's also a weird thing too, which we're going to get to that. But I'll just often I say this. I go, we're going to talk about this later. This happens all the time. And then I never talk about it again. So I'm going to talk about it right here. She walks in after losing her wig and they're like, where's your wig? And she doesn't just say the fucking monster that just chased us 5 feet ago. All of you.
She does.
No, she's like, I don't know. Someone must have just snatched my wig. She doesn't give a straight answer.
She does. She said someone snatched my wig like almost right away, but nobody believes her.
No, she doesn't. She dances around it.
I mean, from what I remember, I feel like she said it almost immediately.
Okay, that's it. What's the timestamp here? Future Joe, can you please put in the audio? We'll find out. I don't know. Maybe you might be right. Put in the audio from the theater lobby of where they talk about this.
So did your wig fall off on the way in?
They kidnapped me on the way here, bitch. That's what y'all get to see. But you know what?
Come on, body. Okay.
Where's your wig at, though? Like, honestly.
I got robbed on the way here.
I don't believe her. I don't believe her for a second.
All right. So let's talk about who each queen that comes in. First, we have Pie. She's a celebrity costume designer. What did you think of her, Lori?
You know, I'm going to say they made a big stink this whole episode about saying that she's annoying. I actually like her. I don't find her great. I don't find her that grating. I mean, she can come off a little annoying, but I think that she's just, you know, she made me laugh a couple of times, and she seems like she's trying to play an honest game. So I like her.
Well, one of the things I might complain about, so Lori talked about this, is each of us has our own old man complaint. And I called Lori. I watched this before Lori did. And I said, listen, this show is so stupid because this show, unlike Drag Race, in Drag Race, the queens, for the most part, look a lot like the way they do in drag, just a feminine version. But Dragula, they're in such thick getup that they can often look completely different, like different people completely in and out of drag. And yet they do it sometimes, but I feel on the first episode with so many queens, every time there's a new queen on screen, you should put her name up.
Yes.
Because I don't know who they are. And so I think I don't have a lot of memory of her, even though she might have been in quite a bunch of scenes. I don't have a big memory of her. And so like, I don't have an opinion whether she's annoying or not.
Okay.
Okay. Next we have Vivi the Force.
Yeah. She just sort of, I don't know. She was one of those ones who just sort of faded into the background for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't feel like she brought that much for me.
Okay. Here's a deal. We're going to say, I disagree, but also this speaks to what I said earlier, Lori. I found her in my memory to be very obnoxious and annoying. Kind of reminding me, remember, who was that Latina one from a couple of seasons ago? Like Hoshli Koshli or something. I don't remember what her fucking name was.
Oh, yeah.
she was really annoying and crybaby and stuff like that. Anyway. But the problem is maybe she was like that. She reminds me, and because they don't put the names up, am I thinking of Desiree Dick when I'm thinking of Vivi the Force? Because Desiree Dick is very annoying.
Desiree Dick was very annoying. Also, Desiree Dick in drag looks older than she does when she's out of drag.
Lori, we'll talk about this when we get to Scylla. Scylla's 25 years old. She looks 45 years old.
Yes.
So Vivi the Force, by the way, she walked down the hallway. Everybody else was like, ah! She was just like walking down the hallway. Was not scared at all.
Yeah, she just strutted down the hallway.
Yeah. Desiree Dick, she said in her, and this actually was proven to be true because I do know she was very annoying. In her confessional, she says she's someone that likes to bring the fun and personality. Oh my God. She was so annoying. I was listening to this podcast yesterday, and I'm going to kind of degrade my own profession. And in this podcast, they had a guest on who was a professional podcaster. Was it you? No, well, some might say it was. He was so fucking annoying. Immediately, I knew he was a professional. He had that voice. He was like, hey, yeah, that's right. I wrote a lot of podcasts. Anybody here? Anybody? Like, he was like that kind of personality.
It was me. I did that. I was, yeah.
I didn't want to say I was listening to Bloody Podcast.
That's right. What's the deal with murder?
Yeah. Why are these women killing all these people?
They should be at home cooking.
Okay, next we have Yuri, who used to be known as Yuri Gay on Drag Race Down Under. They wouldn't say the name's RuPaul's Drag Race. I forgot how hot she is out of drag.
Oh, really? Oh, I was going to also mention this. Desiree Dick in drag has a speech impediment that Desiree Dick out of drag doesn't have, which I thought was a little weird. Which I was like, that's weird. Right? To have, to bring a speech impediment into the mix when you don't have it. That's weird.
By the way, I got to confirm this. I did look up everybody's pronouns. I'm missing somebody. So somebody's going to get they get their pronouns wrong. Everybody's a she, or let me rephrase. Everybody's okay with she, except for Majesty, who goes by he, they.
Okay.
Gray Matter goes by they, and there's somebody else, and I want to say it's Desiree Dick, actually, who goes by they. So okay. Gray Matter, they. I'll double check this, but I believe Desiree Dick is they, and also, Majesty is he.
Desiree Dick was doing something where they called out Majesty, and then Majesty came back at them, and then for the rest of the episode, Desiree was like, "That bitch is out for me," and it's like, no.
No, you said something. She clapped back.
You said something, and you could just got upset that she went for it.
Yeah. So anyway, for the record, we're going to refer to all the drag queens as she, except for Gray Matter as they. I'll find out who the other one is. I believe it's Desiree as they, and then Majesty as he. All right. Next, we have Yuri. Your thoughts on Yuri, Lori?
To be honest with you, I kind of felt like Yuri was a little bit of a dud. I mean, I thought some of their confessionals were semi-interesting, but for the most part, actually in the competition, I didn't feel like they really brought that much to it for this episode.
So I agree with you. There was a weird thing happening where a lot of queens and then one of the judges were gagging over Yuri. And I'm like, do you know who Yuri is? And I kind of feel somebody told the judges or the other girls she's a Drag Race girl, but they thought main franchise. But it was Down Under, and she went home first or second or something like that. And they don't realize that. Because I'm like, who's gagging over Yuri?
Wasn't it Pi who said, "You're the reason I started doing makeup"? I guess Yuri was a big makeup influencer.
Oh, maybe Yuri's a big makeup. I'll say this: Yuri is hot as a boy. I'll give him that. I'll give her that. Gray Matter. Any thoughts on Gray Matter?
Gray Matter, I would say, it looks so different than what and I think it's just because they're literally in a completely different, costume and makeup in it. But I mean, looking at Gray Matter as a monster, you would not think that was the person. They're just such a mild-mannered person.
Yeah, and also they give really shady confessionals, which they were really good at the confessionals, and also I'm going to say really cute. Gray Matter is very, very cute.
Yes, and also sticks up for themselves, which I think is going to be good because you're going to have people like Scylla and Desiree Dix who want to come for you, and they're not going to put up with it.
Yeah. Next we have Jaharia.
I liked her.
What was this? I wrote, I don't understand this whole 6 years thing. I don't know what that's talking about.
Oh, I think it was Jahar. I think they were asking Jaharia how long you've been doing drag.
Oh, that's right. And she said 6 years, and there was a lot of talk about it. Like, she was like, "Oh, not that something about not that long or for a long time," and they're like, "That's not only 6 years." I'm like, "Who cares? Like, shut the fuck up." You know who was Desiree? It was either Desiree Dick or Vivi the Force. One of them was
or Scylla.
Well, no, she's not in yet. She comes in next.
Oh, okay.
Scylla comes in. She's on now. They say she's 25. Guys, I'm telling you, if she's a day under 35, I'm floored.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well that when her drag mom sees her, she's like, "Ooh, this is not a good idea. You should not be on the show."
And one of the things they talk about, which was very offensive and abrasive, was the fact that her breastplate, like, she made no attempt to hide her breastplate. She was just literally wearing it.
I guess I have a feeling that she's more in like the mutilating kind of thing, because it seems like she's more in like the, like, I'm going to cut myself or I'm going to do this sort of thing, but she didn't show any of that. That's just my vibe that I get from her. Is because she has this attitude like, "Oh, you don't do this art, you don't take this art seriously." And so the vibe I get from her is that she's probably going to like stick a needle through her penis or something.
Oh, yeah. Severity Stone. She's our friend that goes home. She comes in. What do you think of her?
Yeah, I thought it was funny that the two comments made about her were that she's very tall and she fades into the background.
Well, you know what's so funny? And I should Google this and show you. She looks like this columnist, this old columnist from the Greenwich, from the Village Voice. I'm sorry, from the Village Voice name. I don't know if my Village Voice is still around. Named Michael Musto.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they look alike is so funny. I literally just pulled up the first Google picture. Let me show him to you right now here on Riverside.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone Google Michael Musto, M-U-S-T-O. You're gonna see what Severity Stone.
I do like. They do have the same vibe. I feel like.
And by the way, they didn't really say much. They weren't super. They were just kind of like almost as if they didn't know they were there. Like, why am I here? It was really weird. Like they were someone's friend. Like they were somebody. Like they drove somebody there, and all of a sudden people said, "Oh, you're in this competition?"
Yes. Yeah. It reminds me of when I one time was. I used to try and hide during lunch, so I'd eat like at school, high school, so I'd eat lunch in the bathroom. One of the big things I would try and do is find an open classroom and just eat lunch in there. And so I found this open classroom. I started eating lunch, and then a bunch of people came in, and they were like, "Oh, are you also going to run for an ASB cabinet position?" And I was like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah.
And then I had to sit through the meeting and sign up and pretend like and then I ran. I think it was for ASB vice president. And my slogan was, "Don't run, walk to vote for Lori Roggenkamp." And I lost.
Oh no.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
I lost to like the most popular girl in our school. And so but yeah, that reminds me, is like he just was there to like eat something, and then they were like, "Are you here for Dragula?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here for Dragula."
That's what it seemed like. Next, we have anti-heroin. You know what I have here for anti-heroin is, the outfit she has on in her confessional, I said, was scarier than the outfit she actually walked in on. I don't know what that outfit was, though, but it was scary. What do you think of anti-heroin?
I liked her tattoos.
Yeah.
And I will say I do like her hair, but I am wary if that's going to be a common thing throughout the competition.
And it looks like they saved the two trans contestants for close to last. Asia Consent comes in. She's trans. She's beautiful, by the way. And then they, like we said, they snatch her wig away from her. So she walks in wigless into the theater lobby. And as you heard, we know either she said it was snatched or didn't say she was snatched. Your thoughts here on Asia Consent, Lori?
I liked her. I thought she was great. I thought she looked great. I thought she was fierce. I also like that. I think Scylla, is that how you say it? Scylla. I think when Scylla saw anti-heroin, I think she had this like boost of confidence where she's like, "Oh, I have a partner in this."
Mm-hmm. It's her drag mom. We should mention that.
And I feel a little bit bad for her because in the confessionals, you can tell anti-heroin is does not give a shit that
Yeah.
that's her direct
Because
daughter.
anti-heroine wants to win again. Maybe kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then we have Aurora Gosmick, who she's another. So anti-heroine and Scylla are Chicago drag queens. So is Aurora Gosmick, and it seems that there's no love lost. She's beautiful as well. I loved her outfit. She's a complete fucking bitch. What did you think of her, Lori?
Yeah, I thought she was amazing. I had her like I think third or second place to win the whole thing. So I think
you did?
yeah.
And then finally we have Majesty, formerly James Majesty, but he explains it later, has dropped the James. I'm interested to see what happens next. What do you think of Majesty's entrance?
I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest with you. I was expecting a little bit more, but yeah, I mean,
So this is the thing, though. This is where a part of me speaks to my conspiracy theory that they filmed the maze first. They all why would they know who James Majesty is right when she walked in? Like, right when she walked in, not James Majesty. I mean, you would think it would take a few seconds to be like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's what they're all reality competition. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched a reality competition show and they'll have a guest judge who's like, this is Anna Aardvark from, the Blurgen Society. She, and it's like a wood competition. And then every contestant's like, oh my God, Anna Aardvark was the reason I got into wood carving, and it's just like, how is that the case? So, I'm like, it's so annoying when that happens. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really annoying. All right. After all the pleasantries, the girls wonder what will be done with the tickets they receive. Soon after, Israel opens the door for them and takes their tickets as they enter the theater. When the girls walk in, they see that standing on the stage is season 1 winner Nehuru X. She bids them welcome, and then the screen flickers on and the Boulay brothers appear on screen to share this week's challenge and Fright Feet. For this week's main challenge, the girls must choose a horror icon and reimagine that icon through the lens of their own drag. But before they can get started, the queens must make their way through a haunted maze. Hidden in the maze is a scroll that will protect one queen on this challenge from elimination. For the Fright Feet, the queens made their way through a haunted maze. Scylla found the scroll just sitting on a table.
Which, I gotta be honest with you,
Yeah.
My conspiracy theory is that was a producer plant. I feel like they did that. They knew who they wanted to be.
Oh, I see.
Who they wanted to get the scroll, and they knew that Scylla was so stupid that she wasn't going to be able to look for it, so they literally put it on the fucking table for her to find.
Let me explain, because Lori, there are a lot of people who don't want to pay for AMC Plus, they don't want to pay for Shudder, so they don't know what we're talking about. And we're going to talk about this. They take them through a haunted maze. And this haunted maze is insane. We're going to talk about it, like I said, because I have a lot to say about this haunted maze. But they tell them when they're in the theater, because I'm going to say a little bit more in detail, they're like, and hidden somewhere in the maze is this scroll. And whoever finds the scroll will have immunity from the first elimination, right? So I'm thinking, I was even thinking, what would I do if I was in this scenario? I would go run away from everybody and go try and find this fucking scroll.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking because they've done this in the past. Remember when they had that something hidden under a table or something, or something like that, or a key or something? I would be like looking through everything. So everyone, guys, there's a very confusing sequence when they're going through the maze, and then all of a sudden, Scylla and a bunch of queens walk into a room, and there's a table, and then just sitting on the table is a scroll, and then Scylla goes, "Oh, look, the scroll."
And also, like, they keep saying that they keep getting pushed. People keep getting pushed in front and people getting pushed in back. And so they're being moved around a lot. And so I legitimately think that they were like, we want Scylla to be safe. We're going to put the scroll right here so that they can find it. I was going to say, when we get to the workroom, they pretend like, Majesty's like, we were tearing up the place and looking for, it's like, no, you fucking weren't.
Yeah.
Nobody was.
And then they're like, who has the scroll? I'm like, you don't know who has the scroll? Like,
she was the first person to grab it.
There were multiple people in the room with her, and she told them, look, I have the scroll. And they were like, fuck you, bitch. And you're like, no one spread the word?
No one was like, Scylla has the scroll.
Everyone, Scylla has the scroll. Or no one said, okay, I have to explain this to everybody. Guys, this is one of the most poorly directed things I have ever seen in the history of this show. It makes no sense what's happening. It is chaotic. You don't even know really what's happening to the girls. They cut in between. They do really quick cuts in between. So there's what I can gather is there are about 3 groups of 4 or 4 groups of 3 girls going through the maze in different parts. And you don't follow one group. It cuts between them, and it's hard to tell I cannot tell you one thing that happened to these girls. Maybe they were put into these portal things,
lockers?
But then what happened? Yeah, but then what happened to them? You don't know.
They were locked, and then they made like a sound that made it seem like maybe they were going to go under the floor, but then they just moved.
And then they put like a mask on them,
and they turned around, and then they walked out, into the workroom. So they were totally fine. Yeah. Which is another thing that I think was faked. Was I don't think those things were connected to that workroom. I think they just said, "Okay, walk out now," like you're just coming out of the cages.
Well, no, Lori makes that's the thing. There's no continuity. The workroom just ends, and then they show up in their boy clothes in the lab.
Yeah,
they're not in the outfits they were in the maze.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. They come out into that room where the scroll is. And then that's literally like the end of the whole thing.
Yeah. And guys,
Scylla finds the scroll.
It makes 0 sense. By the way, I was thinking about this when I was watching the maze part that made no sense. Is they were making fun of Majesty for how simple his look was. Meanwhile, like, oh, he was the smartest one because the girls are like, oh, my wig and my crown and my this, they're broken and all this stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, because you're fucking in a goddamn maze and you didn't wear the right clothes for the maze. Yeah. And so anyway, guys, this fright feat made no sense. Usually in a fright feat too, there's some sort of stakes, like not just a scroll, but like last person to finish gets punished or, something. Nothing. But there was just like, no, you're just going to a maze.
There was no stakes.
A maze that we will not... Because remember, actually, was it James Majesty's season? Remember they went to a haunted house in somebody's season and the person was afraid of cars or something and they had the car like, going to run over them?
Yeah. Or something along the... Yeah, if I was a Dragula contestant, my first outfit would just be a tracksuit with sneakers.
Yeah,
and then
I
go, okay, I'm going to beef it up later, but I need to be spry to get through whatever hell they're going to put me through.
Yeah, it made no sense. And then like I said, then all of a sudden they show up in the workroom. All right. In the lab, inexplicably, the girls out of drag walk into the lab. They revel in all the free products that are waiting for them on the table. Almost immediately, the girls come for each other. Scylla gets red for her entrance look. Majesty gets asked why she's taking a spot away from another queen. Scylla comes for Aurora, and Aurora claps back. Later, the girls share what horror icons they will be portraying. It's floor show day, and the girls get ready for the runway. The girls share their view on sabotage, but 2 people don't trust each other. I don't know because we don't know who these people are. The alarm rings and the girls frantically apply their makeup. I will say, I wrote this script when I didn't know who they are, but I know who they are now.
Okay.
So, yeah. On a second viewing, I had a better idea of who these people are. But let's talk about the lab, Lori. Do you have any thoughts on what happens in the lab? So everyone, just to recap, is they went on this maze, then they come in completely different outfits. They make it look like they walk into the lab from the haunted house, and then they're just in their boy clothes, and they're like, oh, the maze, and then there's all this free merch on the table for them, like this, and then they immediately, they start coming for each other, almost immediately, particularly Scylla and Aurora and other people back and forth and stuff. Did you have any big thoughts here?
Well, first off, I will say I do love some of the merch, like that black bag. I thought was cool. Some of the keychains. So I was it was obviously a promo for their merch, but I was like, hey, I would buy some of that stuff. And I probably will buy some of this. So, smart move. But also, I have some, there was something that's, 2 things Scylla said that I thought were incredulous. One was when she said she got this. Well, first off, the whole pretending like everyone was looking for the scroll. Hey, who got the scroll? It was
Majesty.
Yeah.
Majesty he goes, by the way, does anyone have the scroll?
Yeah.
And we're like, bitch, you know exactly who has the scroll.
I was tearing up we were on our hands and knees tearing up the floors.
I was looking all over the place for the scroll. And don't you think somebody would say who has the scroll at some point?
No, everyone was pretending like they didn't know. So then Scylla said she had the scroll, and then they were like, oh, what are you going to do? Are you going to, use it? And she goes, well, I have the scroll, so I can make the rules. And Pi goes, no, that's not how that works. And I just, that sort of to me was like, yeah, I'm glad. That's why I like Pi, is I feel like Pi is just like, yeah, no, this is not a thing. Like, stop,
I will say this, and this is something I clocked. Pi out of drag looks like somebody that you would tell me, oh, this is my friend Pi who I do improv with.
I could see
he
that.
He looks like one of your improv friends.
I could see that. I would like to do improv with Pi. That would be fun.
Yeah. But if you reminded me of something is when, because I thought about this on a rewatch, is when they were in the theater and Neo Huru X comes out, which by the way, I want to clock, I forgot to mention this, that Neo Huru, it's actually Severity mumbles in a confessional that it's Neo Huru. Severity's like, oh yeah, Neo Huru is just standing right there. And they don't put just going back to what I was saying, they don't put a fucking title or anything. Like, bitch, it's been a year since we've seen this, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, one. But two, she says at the very end, when she lets them go to the haunted maze, the only rule is that there are no rules. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This show has so many fucking rules. More rules than are even official. Like, you can't wear club kid boots. Like, so many fucking rules.
But that's what I think is so hilarious about the show, is that they try and portray themselves. It's like a celebrity who's like, I just want people to have fun and be happy. Mm-hmm. And then turns out they're a major bitch, So it's like they're trying to be like, it's no rule, no holds barred, like shit's gonna go crazy. And it's like a very structured reality show. It's just like, I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous and funny. But so that was one thing Scylla said. And then when Scylla came for Aurora, which I can talk about now.
Out of nowhere she came for her.
Well, they were talking about like, are you surprised to see anyone here? Or something like or no, somebody was saying they were surprised to see Majesty. But then I will say this, going back to the Majesty thing.
I want to talk about this.
Majesty was like, because I'm going to jump ahead a little bit too, but Majesty was like, oh, I think they saw something in my audition tape and they saw that I was trying to recreate myself. But then...
Well, no, I want to go back further than that. And then you can come back to this. And I'll say this and go back to what you were saying. They asked Majesty a very fair question that he didn't answer. They asked Majesty, why are you here taking someone's spot? You should be on Titans.
Yes.
And that was his answer to that question. It made no sense.
Yes. But then, I don't know, I don't know if they were asked back for Titans.
So the rumor is that they really wanted him for Titans and he didn't want to come on. I guess he didn't feel he was ready or something.
So, but then we find out later that from the Boulay brothers themselves that this is the year that they picked all their wild cards.
Yeah.
So they didn't quote unquote, see something in Majesty's audition tape.
Lori, that doesn't make any sense because they saw something in Majesty's audition tape in season 2.
Yeah. So anyways, and also and we'll get into this later, but I realized why I dislike Majesty. But because I remember I think I was talking to you yesterday and I was like, I know I didn't like her, but I couldn't remember why. But then they get to Scylla saying that, I don't know why to Aurora, I don't know why you're here. And basically claiming that she's not Dragula material, right? And then they cut to everyone sort of defends her, and then they cut to a confessional with Scylla, and Scylla says, look, I think she's a great drag artist. I just think she's more worried about being famous than being on Dragula or being the next drag super monster. And I was just like, isn't that like why would you be on a reality competition show if you didn't want to become famous? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's why they're all there. They all want to be famous drag queens. Yeah.
If she didn't want to be famous, why is she on a reality competition show? Like, that was the stupidest argument. I just, I thought Scylla is just like...
Scylla is really... Look, here's the deal. Scylla is just a really annoying person who makes... Right now, I will say, makes great TV. In fact, you know what? I'll even use this season. I'm going to contrast two people, and I don't know why. Scylla, I find entertainingly awful, and I hate her.
Yes.
I find Desiree Dick to be really obnoxious.
Desiree Dix is really obnoxious, but there's something about Desiree Dix that I just can't stop. When she's in drag, I can't stop laughing at her. Like, she just makes me laugh.
Because she's trying to be funny?
She genuinely, like, I think that she's trying to be, but, like, it's not her drag that I find funny. It's her ridiculousness that I find funny. Like, when she's like, when she went into after the judging and she went into the lounge and she's like, oh, that was stressful. Ooh, drinks. Just like that just made me laugh.
So Scylla, so everyone should know this is what's happening. There's a few things that are going on here. I just told you, for those of you who don't watch Dragula, don't follow what's going on, James Majesty was in season 2, comes back for this season, and I think it's Desiree Dick or somebody says to Majesty, hey, why did you take someone's spot? This is in the lab. And Majesty doesn't really answer. He just, almost like a politician, just sort of keeps sidestepping the question. 1. 2, the other thing that happens, and like Lori says, is that Scylla, the 25-year-old drag queen from Chicago, comes for another drag queen from Chicago, Aurora Gosmick, who Scylla thinks is too much glamour, not enough horror, And for people, again, who don't watch Dragula should know, season 1 and Titans, I believe, had, what's her name again? Titans is their all-stars. Melissa B. Fierce. Who, the big thing with her was that she was a drag queen who was into glamour, and she's actually was a very good Dragula contestant both seasons. But, so we learned, like I said, the anti-heroine is Scylla's drag mother. Lori, you hit the nail on the head. I was rewatching it today. She really does come for Scylla throughout the entire thing in confessionals.
And what's so funny is that Scylla when they're in the lounge and they're like arguing with each other, Scylla's like, oh yeah, there's some people that I feel like they wouldn't come for me. They're friendlier. And I feel like she was talking about anti-heroine, and I just kind of felt bad for her in that moment because I was like, you do not realize how little she cares about you.
Yeah.
In this competition.
There's a part where Yuri too and they asked Yuri about being on Drag Race Down Under, and he was like, well, I went on another show, but it wasn't my type of drag. And I'm like, bitch, first of all, Drag Race has been around for years and years and years. You know what show it is. You applied, you went through the interview process, you went through the whole thing, and then you went on the show and now you figured out, oh, it's not really your type of show. You applied to be on it.
Yeah, and then they said that they made her do things that she didn't want to really do.
Yeah. Then everyone, again, if you're not a big Dragula fan, they do this thing on Dragula where they do fake preparation for the show.
Well, before that, they do like a camera break where like it fades to black, and then they come and then they go, okay, are we going to talk about who our monster is, or do we want to keep it a secret? And I was just like, why do we need that?
Oh yeah, because
like we're going to the workroom where they're going to fake work on their costume. Why do we need to have a round table of them? It's almost to me like they were like, oh, we should extra explain this so that way people aren't confused later.
Well, I have a list now, actually. But Lori and I have a mystery. We don't know who Gray Matter was. But what you learn in these little interviews that it's sporadically and they kind of just casually mention is that Desiree Dick is doing Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes.
Majesty is doing Dracula. Yuri is doing Dracula. Jaharia is doing Creature from the Black Lagoon. Scylla is doing Human Centipede. Pi is doing the Sandworm from Beetlejuice. Severity is doing Candyman. Vivi, the Force, is doing Pinhead from Hellraiser. Auntie Heroine is doing Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. Asia Consent is a character I don't know anything about. Art the Clown from Terrifier. Aurora's the Mummy, and we have no idea who Gray Matter is.
Yeah.
No idea. I still to this day don't know who that is.
Part of me is thinking maybe Edward Scissorhands, just because he had like chainsaws on his hands.
But then he was carrying a head. Maybe.
Yeah, he was carrying a head. I mean, it's probably something very... Some listeners are going to be like, Jesus Christ, you guys. So, I mean, I just want to apologize ahead of time because I should know who... I mean, I wish I knew who this person was, but I do not. So...
Okay, now let's go to floor show day. This is like their elimination day. And Desiree Dix, who I think is annoying, and again, so I'm going to kind of tip our hand and we'll talk more about this at the end. Lori and I stopped in the middle of yesterday's show because it was getting late and Lori had to go to bed. And so we resumed. These are two different recordings.
I'm an old lady. And
no,
I
you have a regular job. And these are two different recordings stitched together. And so I did a rewatch, and Lori's done a rewatch as well. And in that rewatch, I have learned that Lori was right. Vivi the Force is basically a non-personality in this. And so the entire time, every time I thought someone would be annoying, it was Desiree Dix. And so Desiree Dix in the lab, when they're fake working on stuff, and they're getting ready to put their makeup on, she says this out loud that she's going to sabotage people.
Yeah.
And then Anti-Heroine's like, well, I kind of want to be nice and not sabotage people. And that's sort of what the conversation is about. Any thoughts on what happened on Floor Show Day,
Well,
Lauren?
I think it's interesting that Majesty... So, okay, this is something I don't... This is why I don't like Majesty. I feel like you hit it on the head. Majesty is like a politician. She does double talk, and I feel like she's a gaslighter. So I think that she was basically saying, I want people to trust me. I didn't trust anyone in my season. I want people to trust me, but I'm also going to sabotage people. What? Like, what? So, I don't know. I feel like, again, I think Majesty wants to have their cake and eat it too.
Do you think perhaps, because Majesty was definitely a villain people really liked because she served great looks, but she was a villain. I'm sure said some not nice things to her on social media. Do you think perhaps she didn't like that? Now she's trying to almost like Roxy Andrews, like rehab her image?
Probably. And I think she probably also thought that her drag was going to take off in a way that it didn't. So maybe she's thinking that this reinvention will be a thing, but I don't know. And then we go into this like weird thing where I'm almost positive it was like a promo for a makeup kit where they're like showing people using the makeup kit and like what they're doing.
Well, it was on the table with their merch. They kept talking about it. It had like a name like Mauve or something, like some weird name.
So it's like I'm almost positive that was what they were doing, but. And then they do which again, I just love that this is we're going into season 6 and they still want us to believe that they sound the alarm and the queens have to immediately go to the stage.
Yeah. And they're like, and then the queens do the same thing. We're like, oh my God.
Yes.
Ah! And then the queens, by the way, come out looking perfect, looking the way they want to look.
Yes.
And there you go. All right. And then it's time for the floor show. Now, Lori, we're doing something a little bit different this year, especially this early on into the competition. We have a ghost host, who I asked to prepare some things for the floor show.
Okay.
Which is just a description, and I just asked him to do the top 3 looks and the bottom 2 looks. Okay, so I have 5 descriptions. So if you have other ones you want to talk about, I don't have descriptions for those. I didn't ask him to do that. But let's go through them. So,
Gray Matter, because also if you notice in that she was the first one, or I think one of the first ones, they spent almost no time on her on them.
Well, I only asked the ghost host to do the top 3 and the bottom 2.
No, I was just saying. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't know who she was. All right, so we'll do it in the order that the ghost host posted them.
Okay.
And here we go. Here's the first one.
Behold, dear listener, the captivating creation of Anti-Heroine, a living nightmare sprung from the dark depths of a botanist's worst fear. Draped in twisted green leaves, she slithers across the stage as a monstrous seductress. Audrey 2 reimagined. Her leafy tendrils embrace and enchant, while her devilish grin beckons you closer, luring you into her garden of terror. Oh, but beware, for this top creature of the week is hungry, and you might just be her next meal.
Oh, interesting. Lori,
ooh, spooky.
Spooky. We got to the description for Anti-Heroine, who she reimagined Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. What were your thoughts on her?
I did not like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, she looked gorgeous, right? But for the challenge, I didn't think it was that great of a reimagining. And to be honest with you, it was almost the exact same makeup and look as her entrance look. And so I just felt like it wasn't that different from what we had already seen. And I was just sort of like, oh, is this what she's going to be doing the whole time? Is just the same makeup and hairstyle the whole time? But, I mean, she looked flawless, but I just didn't, as part of the challenge, I didn't like it.
What did we used to call this on Hello Uglies? It's like something or kill, right? Thrill or kill.
Thrill or kill.
So this is a kill for you,
This is
right?
a kill for me, yeah.
So, okay, this is a thrill for me. This is actually probably my favorite look of the night.
Really?
If I'm being honest. Yeah, I thought it was very, very cool. I really liked it. Yeah, it was my favorite look. All right, let's go to the next one. This is another top one. This is Asia Consent. Asia Consent from our ghost host.
Dear listener, feast your eyes, if you dare, on the unsettling vision conjured by Asia Consent, a grotesque reimagining of the menacing Art the Clown. Twisted stripes spiral across her body like the stripes of madness itself, while fleshy, nightmarish appendages writhe and squirm. Her grin is wide, her intent dark. This top fright will leave you paralyzed with terror, lost in the twisted carnival of her mind.
Okay, that was Asia Consent channeling Art the Clown from the movie Terrifier. Did you have any thoughts on this one, Lori?
I mean, the one thing I would say is that she had art. Like, I think she wrote Art the Clown on her butt on like a piece of cloth on it. So, I mean, that was like the only way that I knew. And also her saying it. But and to be fair, I've never seen any of the Terrifier movies because I hate clowns. And I will never watch them. So, maybe it was a dead-on like representation. But I mean, as just a scary look, I thought this was great. The only other thing that I had a nitpick about is I didn't like the saw. I thought that it just seemed like a saw that she bought at like a hardware store like 20 minutes before the show. Everything else was like bloody and, really like worked over and it just looked rough. And then she bought this like nice saw that was on stage. So, but her performance was great. And the outfit, I thought, I think she deserved to win.
All right, thrill or kill?
Thrill.
Thrill. Okay. It looked cool. I'm actually going to just really, I don't know if they beg to differ with the Boulets, but because Asia Consent lands up winning, but
I think she won because of her performance, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because to me, that's the general premise of the show. Of the challenge was horror icons. And I'm a big horror movie fan. To me, Terrifier is like a lower, to me, maybe it's very famous, but like, I never heard of Art the Clown. I don't know. And I'm going to give it a kill, honestly. Great performance, great look. God, this is a tough one. I'm going to change it to thrill, but I don't think Art the Clown is, I'm just going to say, I don't think Art the Clown is a horror icon.
It's a thrall.
It's a thrall, yes. All right, here we go. Next one is Majesty from the Ghost Host.
Majesty enters the stage like a creature of the night, channeling Dracula himself, clad in blood-red tattered robes that seem to float like the misty Transylvanian air. Her piercing gaze and regal stance demand fear and respect. With every step, you can almost feel the darkness closing in. Beware, she thirsts for more than just applause.
Okay, that was Majesty channeling Dracula. Lori, your thoughts here?
I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. I also the way when she explained it in the workroom, I will say that I thought, oh, that's an interesting take, because she was like, it's like in a post-apocalyptic world where there's not a lot of humans left, so like, how does she get blood? And I was like, oh, I'd like to see that. And we didn't really see that. I mean, she was covered in blood. She sat on a chair that jetted out blood. It's like, you are using so much excess blood. If you have to conserve blood, I don't think this is the way to go. So it just seemed, it didn't seem like it matched what she was trying to actually do. And she kind of just looked like a dork. on stage. Like her hair outfit looked just very dorky. So
you're gonna say this is a kill?
Kill.
All right. I'm in complete agreement with you. I didn't think it was all that great. I didn't think it was all that original. And I know they were living for it. I didn't think it was all that. I mean, to be honest with you, just as much as I criticize Art the Clown and everything because it was not a horror icon, I think there are certain ones like Dragula, like, okay, that's too obvious. It's too on the nose.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard to pull it off.
Also, like, when she's hand pumping that blood, it didn't come off sexy. You know, it's like, oh, this blood's coming out of this chair that I'm hand pumping. You know, it's just like, okay.
All right, so let's go to the bottom 2 now. Ghost Toast, give us the bottom 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes on Aurora Gosmic, wrapped tighter than an ancient mummy, draped in a hauntingly glamorous white gown. The corseted top hugs her with the precision of bandages, adorned with sparkling jewels, while the dramatic fishtail bottom adds a touch of ethereal mystique. She's serving eerie elegance on the runway, but will this look be enough to escape the bottom? Stay tuned.
All right, Lori, Aurora Gosmic, your thoughts here?
You know, I'm torn because I do feel like her performance is what put her in the bottom. I think she was very lackluster. Mm-hmm. But the look itself, I give a kill. I thought it was great.
A kill is bad.
Oh, sorry, a thrill. I thought it was great. I thought she should have been in the top. Like if we're talking about a reimagined monster icon, I mean, I don't think anyone nailed it more than her.
Wait, so is it a thrill or a kill for her?
Thrill. I thought it was a thrill.
Interesting.
I thought she did great. I mean, look, I think maybe it would have come out a little bit better if she had done something more with her face and she hadn't been so lackluster on stage. But, you know, she should at least, I mean, maybe not win, but she should have been in the top 3.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And then let's wrap it up with the one who actually landed up going home.
What about you? You didn't say.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, I agree with the Boulets. I never got that it was a mummy. I didn't understand it. Maybe on a second watch, I noticed, I was like, oh.
She's wrapped in cloth. I mean, who else is wrapped in cloth?
I didn't get it. I didn't think it was that obvious. But I don't see you've ever seen a mummy with cone breasts.
Yeah, but they're wrapped. It's a reimagining. They're wrapped in cloth.
I didn't get it, Laurie. I didn't get it. All right, here we go. Here's the last one from the Ghost Host, Severity Stone. Here we go.
And now, stepping from the shadows, we have Severity Stone, embodying the terror of the Candyman himself, dressed in a long, fur-lined coat, giving chills as it sweeps across the stage, paired with high-waisted trousers and a gothic buttoned blouse. She exudes sinister elegance. The bejeweled crown and haunting makeup seal the deal. This is a villain you don't want to summon. Will this dark, twisted look keep her out of the bottom? Stay tuned.
All right, very good. I guess we're staying tuned a lot. Well, it was not a lot not to keep her out of the bottom, and she landed up going home. Severity Stone. Go ahead.
I feel like the ghost described her in a way better way than the actual outfit was. I mean, God, I truly feel bad for Severity. I genuinely liked her, and I wish she would have stayed. But man, this outfit was god awful, and her performance was so lackluster. When she tried to lick her hook and then gave up halfway through, I was just like, Severity, what are you doing? You know, it was just, I just felt so bad for her. And yeah, it was a kill. It was a major kill.
Okay, so Lori,
what about you?
Well, no, come on. It looked really cheap. It looked like a crappy Party City costume that someone would wear at they had to go to it. They found out they were going to a Halloween party last minute, and they stopped and just grabbed the last thing that was there because it's Halloween.
You know what it actually looked like? And this will go to show you how fake the workroom thing is. It actually looked like she made this during the workroom.
She said that, and I think you're right. I think Severity Stone goes, oh, I think we're supposed to really make things in the workroom. And then actually she goes like, oh, I would have been better. I ran out of time in the workroom because I think they were like, oh, you're not supposed to actually make things in the workroom. No. Yeah, you're right, 100%. So what I want to do right now, Lori, is we're not going to really, unless there's a look you really want to talk about, but I do want to go through just lightning round, gray matter, thrill or kill.
I mean, thrill, but I didn't know what it was.
Okay, Jaharia, thrill or kill.
Just look alone or everything?
Thrill or kill, whatever you want it to be.
Thrill.
Next one is Pie.
Thrill.
And then Desiree Dix, who did Five Nights at Freddy's.
Kill.
Oh, really? Interesting. And then Scylla, I put good concept, messy execution. What do you give Scylla?
Oh my God. I mean, we need to take a moment. She should have gone home.
We should talk about. Yeah, so everyone should know Scylla did the Human Centipede. We don't know what Gray Matter did. Jaharia, I have what Jaharia did.
Creature in the Black Lagoon.
Creature from the... Oh, actually, you know what I wrote here? I think... You know what? I do want to talk about Jaharia really quickly. I completely disagree with the Boulets. I think the look was cool, and I think she sold it really well. I mean, I think she was safe. I don't think she was the best look, but they kind of... She was safe, and she landed up being safe, but they kind of critiqued her in their little...
Well, I think it was one note, so I could see that being... I think if she had added tones to it, it would have come off looking a little cooler, but I think when you looked at it, the construction of it was fun, and her performance was amazing. So yeah, I mean, I think if she had added more, they had, because it just was like black and white. That's really what it was.
Well, Pie was, I believe, wasn't she the sandworm from
yes,
Beetlejuice? I thought that looked really cool too.
I thought
she
it looked
was safe,
great.
though.
Yeah.
Vivi was let me see.
Pinhead.
She was Pinhead from Hellraiser. They had the girl from Hellraiser there, and they were like, she was being really nitpicky with her, but I was like,
no, I thought she should have been the bottom. What was reimagined about that?
Well, I was going to say that, so that's what I said. I wrote, based on the runway, I thought it looked pretty good, but it was very on the nose. It wasn't reimagined. It was just Pinhead.
Her and Desiree Dix, I thought they had, if they said do a replication, do a version of your version of what a monster looks like. I thought Desiree Dix and Vivi the Fox would have been great, but it was a reimagining of it. And they didn't reimagine shit. Desiree Dix was just a Five Nights at Freddy character.
So you're giving Vivi a kill.
Yeah.
And then what do you give Yuri? Yuri did like a Dracula as well, but she did more like a transformation Dracula. So Dracula in the typical garb and then turning into a bat.
It was kind of, it wasn't really reimagining. And also it was kind of like Jaharia, where it was just one note, and then the performance wasn't great. She had a moment where her wings weren't working.
So you're going to give that a kill?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. By the way, a lot of poop eating. Asia, Consent, and Scylla both eat poop in this.
Yeah, and Scylla fucks the butt.
Yeah.
So.
All right. On the main stage, Asia Consent, Anti-Heroine, and Majesty were in the top, with Asia Consent named as the winner of the challenge. In the bottom were Aurora Gosmic, Severity Stone, and Yuri. For this week's challenge, the contestants will vote for who should be in the extermination challenge, regardless of their placement in the challenge. Back in the cauldron, the girls discuss who they might send home. Scylla teases her strategy, but won't say who she would send home, which upsets Majesty and some other queens. Some make the case while others name who they might send home. Severity Stone seems to get the most heat from the girls. Desiree Dick also gets some heat, but because some people don't know who she is as a drag artist. The girls criticize Yuri for not standing up for herself, while Pie worries she may get voted on as well. Finally, even though she was saved, Scylla gets read for filth by the other queens. Any thoughts on that cauldron or the judging or anything, Lori?
Yeah, well, okay, here's a couple of things. One, we can get to this later too, but I thought Majesty was being kind of a dick in this. And then I love that Scylla didn't realize until that moment in the confessional that people would have voted against her. Like, I just thought it was like, I would love to have your confidence for a day and see what I'm able to accomplish.
Yeah. She was very, very obnoxious in a way that I don't like her. She's someone I love to hate, but yes. I love to hate her.
Yes.
I'm really actually kind of sad that her looks aren't that great. So I don't think she's long for this world.
No.
But
I think she'll win. I think what'll happen is she'll play out like that queen from last season, where she'll be in the bottom again. She'll win one competition and then she'll go home.
Yeah. And then I will give her this. There've been a lot of Dragula references from the queens, meta references. She did reference Hollow Eve with the penchant for whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of applauded that. That was but the cauldron was if this is a sign of the way the season's going to be, I think it's going to be a good season because that was a messy cauldron.
Also, I do love watching them try and drink things with a straw. There's just something about them not being able to find that straw right away that really makes me laugh. So that was really fun for me.
So back on the main stage, the girls vote on who should go up for extermination. In the end, Severity Stone and Aurora Gosmick were set up for the extermination challenge. I'm going to stop right here. I actually counted the votes. They got 5 queens voted for Severity Stone and only 2 voted for Aurora, but everybody else was just 1 for somebody. It was just dumb.
That's what I say. I don't like Majesty because I feel like Majesty is gaslighting Pie. I feel like Majesty said in the workroom, I hope you can trust me. Right?
Oh.
But then now she's saying that, she doesn't think that Pie was being grateful enough. Who the fuck is ever grateful to be safe? Why would you be great? Like, if I was safe, I'd be like, what do I need to do? You should want to win if you're in a rally competition show. And how dare they, if they were safe, they would have that same attitude. So I feel like they were gaslighting Pie in that moment. And I was like, when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, that's why I didn't like Majesty. Because they like to, and they said that.
I didn't think about it that way.
Their vote is going to be purely psychological.
Yeah. All right, for the extermination challenge, Aurora and Severity Stone go out to the middle of the ocean and go shark diving without any protection from the sharks. We talked about that at the top of the show. Now it's time for the extermination. In a dark soundstage, Severity Stone wanders, trying to find a way out. Suddenly, the image of a boulet appears, and Severity runs in terror. She seeks shelter in a makeup trailer, but it's of no use. Swan appears behind her and smashes her face into the mirror until she's dead. Lori, any final thoughts on the episode?
I feel like, look, again, I like Severity, right? I thought Severity was a very lovely person. I would have loved to see more of them. But Severity's also a very tall person. So I did find it very funny that
they were
trying to make it seem like Swan could take hold of Severity, and Severity wouldn't be able to just be like, no! Just like... Yeah. Roundhouse her and just grab her and
just like pick her up and throw her
to the ground, and she bashes her head in. I mean, I was just like, does she even have the strength in her little tiny hands to do that? Like, So I thought that was funny, but other than that,
like I said at the top of the show, top of the show, in the middle of this show, is we stopped in the middle so Lori could go to sleep, and so both she and I got a chance to do a rewatch. So Lori, were there any other notes that you forgot to mention or that you noticed on a rewatch that you wanted to say right here?
No, I genuinely I'm excited for this episode or this season, sorry. And I will say this, my sister-in-law has asked if she could be a guest on the show.
Is that because her last name's Consent?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to revisit something we talked about at the top of the show, but now it's a day later. So, Lori, you were right. The guys are murdered. If you're looking at the screen, some of them have like their throat slit or they have some sort of stab wound. So the men have been murdered.
So they have been murdered. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I thought. It looked like there was like blood places, but again, there was no poop. So I was I don't know.
I think we kind of hit it when we were kind of making a joke about this, but I think it was a combination Taco Bell Pizza Hut, but also combination orgy murder.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've always had that thing where they have to like drink young blood or something like that.
Yeah. You do get a shot of the car. And I like how I'm fact checking in the very episode, our own show. We do get a shot of the car. There's like
but it's only stuff that I said.
No. I said, I'm actually the one that said we didn't get a shot of the car. You said you didn't know. And
no, I said we got a long shot of the car. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were right on the first one. You said that when you thought they were dead.
Wait, there was one that we were arguing about. What was it?
I put that in. Okay. It's in the episode. Yeah, it's already done. You also pointed out I didn't realize until the second rewatch, the guard put the gate up for them to come into the studio.
Yes.
And then stops and says, stop. There's a gate.
Yes.
He put it up.
But there was something that we were arguing about. yesterday. That was like, I said, you
Yeah,
said.
I know what you're talking about. Mhm.
What is it?
It's about whether Asia Consent answered in the theater lobby whether how she lost her wig.
Oh, so what was the consensus?
I'm still gonna say it's still gonna be controversial. You're gonna have to listen. So another thing is so if anybody's not watching this show because they don't want to pay for Shudder or AMC Plus, but you want to know what we're talking about at the top of the show in terms of their workroom entrances, you can see them because it's the same outfit that they wear in the Meet Our Monsters video and in the official Meet, not the one with the whatever his name is. They have another set that came out after we recorded Hello Uglies, the first episode 0. And those outfits are what we're talking about there. And, on a rewatch, Severity Stone is very boring. And so I get why they cut her. And then finally, they do this thing in the lobby of the theater where they're all, we have these tickets. And it doesn't pay off. They just give Israel the tickets and he lets them in. There was no, why did they even bother with this ticket bit? It was super bizarre.
Because somebody in production printed out those tickets and they were like, we got to make sure people know we have these tickets.
Yeah. So anyway, by the way, we want comments. We like comments. If you have thoughts about anything, further things that maybe we missed, other comments, go to speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia and leave a comment. Leave a voice memo for us and we'll play it on the show. Lori, believe it or not, we already have a SpeakPipe message.
If you know who Gray Matter was, please leave a voice memo. Yeah. What is it? Is it really one or are you just making it up?
No, Lori, it's a real one.
All right. I don't believe you, but I'll let the bit play. You're smiling too much.
Hi. This is Schmergen Flurgan from the Drag Podcast Federation. I'm the president, and I already have the results for today's floor show. Gray Matter, Thrill. Jaharia, Thrill. Asia Consent, Thrill. Anti-Heroin, Kill. Pie, Thrill. Vivi the Force, Kill. Aurora Gosmic, Thrill. Desiree Dix, Kill. Severity Stone, Kill. Scylla, Kill. Yuri, Kill. And Majesty, Kill.
Wait a second.
Good luck.
You said we weren't doing this again. You said you stopped.
Lori, I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds like you. And I think it's really weird that someone left a SpeakPipe and they happen to agree with all of your decisions.
You know what? You should teach a master class in gaslighting. You and
Lori,
Majesty.
You are the one.
You are the one.
I'm going to tell you. I think it's you. I think it's you.
It is you because I'm watching you say it right now, and then you're going to do this AI Lori voice.
No one has seen this, so now you're gaslighting me and you're gaslighting the audience.
No, you're gaslighting me.
No.
And Star saw it.
Star didn't see shit. That's going to do it for this. She saw you gaslighting me. You know what? It's probably Star who messaged in. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Hello Uglies. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of Dragula Season 666. So, for Lori Roggenkamp and myself,
so long, Uglies!
Thank you for listening to Hello Uglies. Have something to say? Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. For access to more LGBTQ content and other Afterthought Media shows, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Hello Uglies is an Afterthought Media podcast.
Okay, and we are out. Good show, Lori. What'd you think? Lori?
What?
Lori, is everything okay?
No, everything is not okay.
What's wrong?
I'm being serious. I think you're seriously gaslighting me, and I don't like it.
See, Lori, this is the problem. It's hard to tell with you when you can tell it's a bit and when you can't tell it's a bit. And so sometimes I think you're playing along and I don't realize you're being serious.
Joe, I've told you multiple times in private conversations that I'm being serious. I don't like being gaslit. My family used to gaslight me, and I don't like it. It's a real trigger.
Okay, well then, we can just stop the bit. No one's going to notice if we just stop the bit.
No, I don't believe you. I think this is you gaslighting me again. And so, I don't know. I just, I'm doing you a favor by doing this show, and it just seems like you just take joy in gaslighting me and triggering me.
Well, Lori, I appreciate you. I really do. You are a major part of why Hello Uglies is a success, of why the Tea is a success, why Afterthought Media is a success. You are a big part of it. I just think you're tired. You've been going through a lot. Why don't you do this? We'll both drive home. In fact, do you want me to give you a ride home?
No, I drove here. Why would I need
you? You don't always drive here. Sometimes, Star picks you up.
No, I drove here.
Okay, well, then drive home, and I think maybe you'll cool off by then. We'll revisit this tomorrow, but I want you to know I think it was a good episode.
Hi, babe, it's me. I'm on the way home. No, I am pissed off, Joe. We did an episode today, and it was going fine at the very end. He totally gaslit me, and I'm just fucking sick of it. Yeah, I know. I should. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'll talk to him tomorrow. Well, the problem is if I quit the show, he'll just keep doing shows. I'll probably still keep gaslighting me. And doing like AI Laurian. I think there's really only one thing I can do. And that's kill Joe Betance.